Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to take a look at this expansion for Endless Winter, which is going to be Rivers and Rafts. Let's go ahead down to the table. I'm going to show you all the cool stuff that comes with this game, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to give you my final thoughts. All right, so this is the Rivers and Raft expansion for Endless Winter Paleo Americans. In this one, you're going to replace the map portion of the base game. So you're going to have a new map here. You're going to get a whole bunch of materials for this, and this is going to focus mainly, just this map is going to be what changes with this expansion. You're going to get these three big tiles here, and they're going to make up your river. You're going to get a headwaters, and you're going to get a delta. In here, you're going to get these little canoes, and these are going to be for each of the different factions or groups. And you're going to get these monuments that will do different things in the game. We'll go over those in a second. You're going to get this new sacred stone, and this new sacred stone will be used with the expansion. You'll just mix it in. This will help give you 2 points for your camps where they're near the monuments. This one here is going to be a new animal that's going to be added in, and you're only going to use this guy, shuffle it in, if you use this expansion, because this one will let you tap this or turn this animal and you'll gain 2 fish. So if you harvest this one, you'll get 2 fish. Obviously, you're not playing with that expansion, you can't get that. In addition to that, you got this new warrior. This warrior will replace the warrior from the base game. And this one here has 2 different things that you can do for it. You're first going to get the migrate ability. So if you use the migrate, when you play this card, you'll get an axe. If on the eclipse phase, you're going to be able to move 1 camp and or canoe, which we'll go over in a second. And you can move an opponent's camp and or canoe, which is interesting and cool. What does this do to the game? Well, a couple other things that I need to go over that you're going to get is you're going to get new base camps. These base camps are going to be specific to your tribe. So each one will match, and you will go and place these out and set this up before the game begins. And these are going to be where you're going to deploy your camps instead of in the center. Now, one note for that is you can deploy your camp to where your canoe is if it is along this river here. So if it's in the headwaters or delta, you can't do that. So let's get into the meat of how this actually changes how you're going to be doing things in the map portion of the game. So as I mentioned, placing and moving camps is a little different in this one. Also, building villages is different too. So when you place a camp, like I said, you can place it in your starting tile, or you could place it by your canoe if it's on one of the paths along the river. When you move camps, you can decide whether you want to move your camp or move your camp or one of these, your canoe. If you move your canoe and it's going downriver towards the delta, you can move as far as you want as one action. You can stop anywhere along here that you want to do. If you're going back up the river, you can only do this once per action. So every single move action lets you move once up the river. That's moving your canoe. Cool thing about your canoes, and when you do building villages, your canoe counts as a camp. So it will count towards area control for that area, and it will count towards your number that you need, 3, to build a village. When you build a village and one of them happens to be the canoe, what you'll do is you'll build your village and then you'll place the canoe back up at the headwaters, sort of resetting it. In addition to this, you have all these different eclipse phases along this path and the delta that will occur. And what will happen here, so let's say I'm anywhere along here and I have majority in there, in the eclipse phase, I'll get a fish. And when I get a fish, I'll flip it over and it gives me something. This happens to be 3 meat. So there's a lot of different things you can get from it. You can move up your totem up. You can do all sorts of fun stuff with that. The other thing that matters on here is if you're all the way down here and you have control of this area. Okay, so here you're at the Delta. In the Eclipse phase, two things are going to happen. You are going to gain 1 point for your raft if you have control of that area. 1 point for your raft, and an additional point per camp you have on river hexes. So these would be your river hexes. So you can get a lot of points for being down here, and your opponents are going to want to try to prevent you from being able to gain those points or gain them yourself. Now, if you're actually tied for it, you can be greater or equal, you'll still get it. So that is basically how this functions. Now there's another cool feature that happens in this game, and you can add more or less of them depending on how difficult you want the game to be. And that's going to be your landmarks, or I call them monuments, but they're landmarks. And there's going to be 5 different ones you can have, and they do different things. So we'll go over those guys in a second. And this is the really cool monolith. And you got a tree and this arch, and you will have these cards here, and these will tell you all what they do. We'll go over them here in a second, but at the start of the game, when you set this up, you decide how many of these you want out. You're going to shuffle this up, flip that number over, and place them out in those locations. Now, let's go over each of these. So one of the first ones here is going to be your volcano. So for your volcano, you're going to score 1 point for each camp still on your player board. So that's pretty cool. And that's at the Eclipse phase. The next one up, we'll do the, I don't know how to say this, the I don't know how to say this landmark. But anyway, you're going to score 1 point for each of the middle 7 hexes of terrain board that has at least one of your camps on it. Then we have the arch. Where'd the arch go? Where'd the arch? Arch is right here. So then we have the arch. The arch is going to score 1 point for each of the 12 outer hexes of terrain board that has at least one of your camps on it. So, and then we have the monolith. I just like the monolith. I think it's really cool. You're just going to score 1 point for each camp you have on this hex, so specifically on that hex itself. And then finally, you're going to have the tree, and the tree is going to score 2 points for each village you have that is touching at least a river hex. So I went over that really quick. That is the big things that you have with this expansion. So what does this expansion do? Well, this expansion changes the straight up format of just having that normal map there where you deploy all your camps in the middle and you spread them out, and you do the area control things for things in the Eclipse phase. It also adds a random element to the game where the fishing occurs, because the fishing, you're not entirely sure what you're going to get in here when you fish. Like here, you can get your 3 meat. You get this one here is going to give you a meat and a card. This one here gives you a point and a meat. So it's all sorts of different things. And you have to determine whether it's worth it for you to camp out on one of those and get those on each Eclipse phase. Also, you want to keep in mind too that your canoes in this expansion are really nice because they count as a camp in every aspect. So you can use them to build your villages. Other things that come into factor is where you placed your starting tile, which is different from the base game because everyone starts in the middle, and that's how it works. This, you're going to start out at different portions of the board. So I'm going to build camps here, and then they're going to move out. And if I don't like how I'm positioning these and I'm already full up or whatever, you can deploy them next to where a canoe is. So I can move this canoe down a little bit here and say deploy one there or whatnot, or here, which is nice. So really, oh, sorry, it has to be on this hex. Sorry, I said that wrong. I'm tired. So it has to be here. So if I'm here, I have to deploy it there. Sorry about that. Also counts towards majority control when you get to the Eclipse phase. So in a quick nutshell, this is what you get with this expansion. Let's go ahead back up the table here and I'll give you my final thoughts on it. So the Rivers and Raft expansion for Endless Winter Paleo Americans really drastically changes that map portion of the game, so the area control portion of the game. The component quality of this is amazing, just like any of the other Endless Winter stuff, like the base game or or whatnot, it's still the same quality, still really thick cardboard, still really great art, still really good chunky wood bits, really high grade cards, really good component wise and quality wise. The game change itself, I don't know. I mean, it is a big change from the base game. It's more straightforward in the base game. This is a little bit more, I guess, more layers to it. So if you're doing the area control thing and you like that strategy and you just want a little bit more for it, this is probably for you. A couple things that seemed a little wonky with the expansion is the faction-specific starting tiles is a neat idea, but I don't know that it plays out very well because based on the layout of the board and your turn for placing down your starting tile, you can end up with an area that's not so great, like being by a glacier or whatnot, and placing your camps down on your starting tiles not great because you're going to have to move it farther to get where you want to go. So then you're going to have to use your movement to move your canoe down, or raft or whatever, down that river so you can get better placement for your camps. Where someone who had a starting tile near some nice areas that you get nice eclipse bonuses on it don't have to do as much effort to do that. So does that mean you might have to change your strategy up a little bit and maybe not focus on the area control portion of the game so much? Maybe. There's a lot of valid strategies in Endless Winter. So this might be something where, based on your starting camp, maybe you want to lean towards it or lean away a little bit from that portion of the game. Yeah. And then you have all those monuments that you can have out that really change up scoring and stuff. And the more that you add, the more complicated the scoring gets. So basically what I'm getting at is this expansion is neat. I think people will like it. I think some people will love it. If you like Endless Winter and you're looking for something a little bit more, this might be for you, like I said. But I do not think this is an essential expansion. So I don't think that this is not an expansion that I'm going to put out very often when I play the game. I'm perfectly happy with the base game as is without this. So take that for what it's worth. I do feel that people will love this expansion, so it might be you that loves this expansion. Just take a look at what I explained in the quick overview of what you get with it and see if that's something that might pique your interest if you like Endless Winter. So that's my thoughts on this expansion for Endless Winter. Thank you for watching.